Hi, I'm Jessica, and when I'm not drinking all the coffee, watching Razorback sports, or hanging out with my family of boys, it's my passion to help elementary music teachers just like you find your unique teaching style. My goal with this podcast is to share helpful tips, strategies, and to give you the motivation you need to gain momentum in your teaching so you can continue being the music teacher rock star you already are. Hello, everybody out there in podcast world. Wherever you're listening from, I hope you're having an amazing day, an amazing week, month, whatever. So in Arkansas, I think I talked about this before, but the weather still can't stop, won't stop. It's crazy. You guys, we had snow this week in April. What? It's spring. I don't want to look out my window and see snow on the ground, and then it's just not okay. It's not okay to still have to be wearing coats. It's not okay to have to bundle my children up. It's not okay to not be able to send them outside when they're going crazy because it's too flipping cold. Anyways, so all that to say, I hope wherever you are, it's warm, a little bit warmer than here. Usually April is, the weather gets a little nicer. It's just kind of like up and down. I can't keep up. It's really honestly one of those things where every morning you have to check the weather app and see, what are we going to wear today? Short sleeves, long sleeves, coats, jackets, a raincoat, rain boots. I don't know. It's nuts. Anyways, enough about the weather. Goodness gracious, can't talk this morning. So, even though it doesn't feel like spring some days, it is spring, and I know you are noticing that with your own children and the kids in your classroom. Oh my word, you guys, April is the longest month for teachers. The kids know summer's right around the corner. They know they just finished spring break, and a lot of times in April, there's no break. It's just crazy. They have the actual definition of spring fever. You never really truly understand what spring fever is, I feel like, until you're a teacher, and then you just are caught in the middle of it, and you can't, you're in it. You're in the spring fever with these kids. So, anyways, moving on. So today I want to talk about my favorite springtime activities to do with kids, okay? In the show notes for this episode, I am including a free printable for you to use. It's 20 fun music filler activities. Now, I know you have full lessons planned for your students, and let's just be honest, sometimes those lessons don't go according to plan. Towards the end of the school year, there's so many interruptions. There's so many, whether it's school interruptions with assemblies and field trips or interruptions in your classroom because the behavior's starting, to get a little harder to manage. So I always had kind of a backup plan. There was always here's my lesson, here's what I'm going to do if it doesn't go right. And so these filler activities are things I used in my own classroom to help the students and help you, let's be honest, if things aren't going according to plan. You're like, let's put the brakes on this, let's do something else, and we'll come back to this the next time I see you. It's okay. It's okay if that happens. It happens to every one of us. And so check out that printable. And then also I included a blog post in the show notes also about my 4 favorite rain songs to do with children. You're probably way familiar with them. We're going to talk about them today in this podcast also. They're, pretty much the most popular rain songs out there. Songs about rain, let's put it that way. So first of all, my favorite activity to do in the springtime is making a rainstorm. It's pretty simple, but basically what you do is if you have a rain stick, let me talk first about the instruments you need to get ready. You'll have a rain stick and some shakers or maracas. Then you're going to need probably like 2 or 3 drums. It can be hand drums or djembes or tabanos. Anything along those, any kind of drum actually will work. Except for like a drum set. I'm talking about classroom drums. And then you'll need probably some tambourines, rhythm sticks, and maybe some boom whackers or something along those lines. You could use xylophones, glockenspiels, things like that too, to make glissandos for the rain sound. And so be creative though. like I said before, you be you. And if you don't have those instruments, that's completely fine. Kids can make a rainstorm but just by using their bodies with body percussion in their mouths. And if you only have a few instruments, that's fine too, But if you have a whole classroom set of instruments, just be creative with what you have. And you may already do something like this, but here's how I like to do it. So first of all, you talk with the kids about rain. And this is actually an awesome activity to do if it's raining, because it just kind of goes perfectly along with, the rain outside. You can do a rain activity in your classroom. And you can check the weather ahead of time and see, which day is it going to be raining. And then, of course, it's not going to do it even though it says it will, but still do the activity anyways because the weathermen lie. But, that always happens. But so what you do is you talk about a rainstorm. You talk about how does it start. Okay, well, obviously it gets cloudy, but you start with the sprinkles. And so with the sprinkles, you can have kids lightly play the shakers or the maracas, or they can lightly play the boom whackers on the floor, or things like that. Just a slow pitter-patter sound, or with their mouth, they can, or something like that, or lightly pat their laps. Then it moves into the rain. Okay, so with the rain, then don't bring the drums in yet, or they can softly tap, I guess. But the maracas and the rain stick are still going, but make them, not make them, but they shake their instruments a little louder. And then maybe the tambourine can be the rain, or the rhythm sticks can lightly hit on the floor, like making a rain sound. I can't show you, but the kids have one in each hand, so they're just lightly, kind of like the TT rhythm on the floor, TT, 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 to make the rain. Or they could even start slowly, ta, 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 T, 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 T. You could give them a rhythm to play over and over, or they can each have different rhythms going on because rain, when you listen to it, it sounds uneven sometimes. Okay, so you do the rain. Then the drums come in with the loud thunder. They're crashing thunder, and explain to the kids because they're going to want to do it the whole entire time. Thunder comes and goes, and the rain is still playing underneath these drums. And then you can kind of go backwards from there. It's kind of like you go up the mountain and come back down. So once you do the thunder, then you come back down, then the rain plays again, and then it starts sprinkling, and then everybody stops at once. And the kids are like, oh my gosh, that was the coolest thing ever. So if you're adding xylophones or any kind of barred instrument in there, be creative with that also. They can do glissandos, which is when they go up the instrument and down the instrument. The mallets just roll up and down like that to make rain. So that's one of my favorite activities to do. Another fun activity, if it's not raining, is to go outside. Or if you can't, for whatever reason, maybe it interferes with recess time, or, maybe you could take the students in the front of the school instead of the back. Or if you don't feel comfortable doing that, that's completely fine. Maybe you could open up your window, and it's always hard to do this because there's always going to be that one kid that can't be still no matter what you say. But try to have the kids listen to the sounds outside. Okay, so what do you hear? I hear birds. I hear trees rustling. I hear... I don't know if you'll hear crickets, but most of the time it'll be a lot of birds. And so what you can do is either have them color pictures of with the little ones, what they're hearing, and explain that even hearing, animal sounds outside, that's music. And then you could maybe compose a song together as a class. Okay, let's write the words together. What did we hear outside? How can we write the words to what we heard? Then you come up with a rhythm together. What are you going to call your song? Then you create melody to go along with it. Be as creative as you want to, but you can create a whole song just around a springtime theme from just listening to what's outside. Okay, so I told you I was going to talk about rain songs for kids, and like I said, look at the show notes, the podcast notes for this episode. This blog post I wrote, a year ago. Well, anyways, it's songs about rain. So you have 4 songs in there. It's Raining, It's Pouring, Rain, Rain, Go Away, Singing in the Rain, and then a song called I Don't Care If the Rain Comes Down. And so with these songs, when you sing about rain, you can add movement or motions to the words. And then the little kids, the kindergarten, first graders, especially love to add motions, especially to it's raining, it's pouring. He bumped his head. They pretend to bump their head with their hands. Couldn't wake up in the morning, and they act like they're sleeping. Kids love to act out motions to songs. With these songs, they can follow the song with the direction, with the melody of the song with their hands, go up high or down low with their hands. Follow the melodic direction. Use solfege when they're singing it, if you're comfortable doing that. So you can always, with songs, I like to layer. I don't know if that's just the word I use. So I'll teach a song first, then we sing it together by echo singing. Then we start adding things onto it. So then we add some movement or motions to the words. Then we follow the melodic direction to the song, or you could do that while they're echo singing. Then you've done those things. Then you can add some body percussion. Okay, guys, we're going to pat the rhythm to this song. Okay, now we're going to clap the steady beat. Okay, next thing. Okay, now we're going to add some instruments, and you have your own instrument procedures in your classroom for how you do that. Maybe you hand out a few instruments. Maybe kids walk to an instrument. Maybe you have them split up into groups where this group A got to play instruments last time, so group B, it's your turn. We're getting these particular instruments for this activity. Or maybe you have a rotation set up where you have 4 rows of instruments, and each the kids get to play those instruments. You have rhythm sticks in one row, drums in another, xylophones in another, or whatever, and they rotate. Or another thing I always like to do is have them split into groups where one group is singing the song with the motions, then you have one group playing the instruments, and then you can trade. And then you could even have another group doing, still doing the body percussion, patting the rhythm to the song, or walking in place to the beat. So the songs, like I said, those are just some ideas for how to, what to do with a song, and not just a song about rain, but any song in your classroom. So it's raining, it's pouring. Most of you know that song, Rain, Rain, Go Away, and Singing in the Rain. And then one that you may not know is the song, I Don't Care If the Rain Comes Down. And it's kind of cool because you can add different motions to it. So, I don't care if the rain comes down, I'm going to dance all day. I don't care if the rain comes down, I'm going to dance all day. Hey, hey, carry me away, I'm going to dance all day. Hey, hey, carry me away, I'm going to dance all day. And then you can say, I'm going to sing all day. I'm going to stomp all day. I'm going to run all day. I'm going to jump all day. You can constantly change that action word, and they can do the motions to what they're singing. So I hope this gives you some ideas for some springtime activities to do in your classroom. If you are listening, I would love for you to subscribe to this podcast so you make sure you never miss an episode, and be sure to download your free printable. And I will see you soon. Have a great week. Bye. Thank you so much for listening in to the Elementary Music Teacher Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And while you're there, I would love for you to review the show and leave a rating on iTunes. To find out more about how I can help you gain momentum in your elementary music teaching career, head to thedomesticmusician.com, where you'll find free downloads, courses, the blog, and so much more. Continue teaching music and never doubt the impact you're making each and every day in the lives of your students.